We are gonna get it underway here in just a moment. And we've got Billbotics and Invenerable on commentary. So,
welcome everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, welcome. Early morning, chill, FF4 time. It's gonna be rad. I don't know how many people in chat have seen Free Enterprise, but it is very fun. Honestly, I have never played Final Fantasy IV, and I like to watch these two in particular race it pretty often. So I'm excited to see my good friends, my good folks doing this. So
Nice.
yeah, it's gonna take a
Should
little.
be
Oops, sorry, go
so
ahead.
fun. No, I was gonna say it should be so fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be great.
I'm having a wonderful time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's exactly what I like to hear. So I think without further ado, we should get it going because it's a pretty long race. And good luck to the both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, Fufu points out that it's 2 p.m. in Europe, and I'm sorry, but it's so for a lot of us, it's the
Call
morning,
out.
and for everyone in the call right now, it's the morning.
Yes.
But there are many people for whom it is not morning. So, I mean, it's late night for folks in Australia. But yeah, for us, this is bright and early in the morning. So, yeah, I think we're ready to go. So, who wants to count them down? Oh, wait, real fast. I have some donations.
I love donations.
I know. It's
Me too.
it's the reason for the season, as it were. And so we got $1 from Xandra, which is going towards the Xandra party name in Final Fantasy IV. That makes sense. Oh, how are we gonna figure out the party names? I guess we should cut off that donation incentive, huh?
So,
Or did
we
you
are
already figure it out?
We are going to allow Billbotics and Invenerable to let you know when the cutoff is, because it really can go up until one of us reaches go mode.
Okay, gotcha. So we will figure that out, and I'll work that out with Bill and Inven. So we also have another $7 here from Xandra, who says, "Good morning, folks. What time is it? Oh gosh, I have to prepare for my run. Keep up the good work. Less than 3 heart." So yeah, thanks Xandra again, as always. We have $5 from Kat. No message, but that's also going towards Kat for the free enterprise race. And we have $25 from Chris and Phoenix, which is going towards the name Silver with a Y.
Woo!
Um,
Y'all are doing such a good job.
yeah.
And get those names in. Make us name our folks the wackiest things.
However,
Yeah.
I want to make
Or
it known that make it known that in honor of Buttspot, if someone donates for the Butts name incentive, I will name the silliest character Butts.
I mean,
Which is all of them.
Yeah. If we donate, Butts would be a fantastic name to donate for. So there's a good Butts Butt, who just replaces random words of other people's sentences with butts, which is a good feature that Alexa and I both enjoy very much, and many others do as well. So yeah, in case you are not familiar with Buttspot otherwise. But anyway, I think let's count them down and get this underway. If that's good with y'all.
Yep.
Good by me.
Sweet.
So ready.
Rad. Well, what's that?
Ready here as well.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna count you down. All right.
Yep.
All right.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. We're finally underway with Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise, the best coffee in the morning to wake us all up. Both of our runners here are starting with characters Yang and Tella, it looks like. Not a bad start.
Donatella definitely gives them a lot of utility, especially if they can uh, get up to ordeals and get his spell set unlocked. May not have quite the oomph of some of the other mages, but definitely has the utility.
And Yang, obviously, a physical damage dealer that just gets more powerful with every level that he gains. And the first key item looks like it was the Baron key, which gives them a little more options on the overworld when starting out. And it looks like Netara will dip into Baron right away.
Going neck and neck right off the bat, doing a little simultaneous looting, it looks like.
I'm gonna double check the flags here. A lot of times with this randomizer, there's different flags that you can set, and depending on those flags, the difficulty will vary quite a bit. And it looks like with these flags, there's the T4 flag, which means all of the treasures are heavily randomized. Even the most powerful items can be in any chest. So checking chests early on is a very good idea, and it looks like that's the route both of our runners are taking here.
Definitely. And another flag to note today is that neither of well, of course they're running the same flags, but our runners are not using many of the common Final Fantasy IV glitches that you may have seen at other speed runs. There's not going to be any item duplication glitching to get ridiculous sums of money early on. No MP underflow either. So getting those items out in the world to sell and get their cash will actually let them make a little more progress going on forward as well.
And that can make a big difference. We got the J flag, which is including Japanese items. So having a lot of money and the Japanese items flag can really break the game early. So not being able to do those glitches makes resource management a little more pertinent for both runners.
Exactly. Our runners are going with no free lunch as well, though. So they're not going to get, characters just, pouring out of every location. They will have to, or pardon me, they appear to. Oh, let me double check the flags. I thought that they were not playing with free lunch active. Uh, Pardon me if I'm incorrect on that, Bill. Let me double check right quick.
Looks like no free lunch is off, so they should be able to get get the free characters and free key item. And it looks like Natara is going straight for Hobbs, and they find Edge with the Doll's boss, which finding Edge early is a huge boon. He's a very powerful character. He starts at a high level. He does a lot of damage, so this is a great find. And it looks like Alexa is checking Damsian treasure room, the hidden treasure room, and maybe checking the character as well as unlocking the hovercraft, but we will see here.
Oh, excellent. That does confirm our runners are using at least one level of no free lunch flag, or we would have seen a character there in Damsian. So very lucky that our early easy access character at Mount Hobbs is Edge, just like you said. Fantastic find early on. Should make this a little quicker going, given their rougher starting characters. Alexa running into one of our favorite NPCs in the game, the capo lady who blocks that bridge every chance she gets, of course.
Every single time. I think Kaipo has probably the most blockers in it. It's got the bridge blocker as well as the older woman in the inn that likes to block your exit if you check the
Case
item shop.
case in point, Alexa trying to shove the lady out of the way just to get to the item shop and having a little bit of bad luck with it. Meanwhile, it appears that Natara has collected Edge as well as the other loot on Mount Hobbs, going to be running down. Let's see where she heads next.
Headed right into the Antlion's cave on Natara's side. Grabbing the treasures as well, finding a crystal armlet that only Paladin Cecil can wear, as well as a Gaia drum, which does pretty moderate damage at early levels. It's one of those Japanese items I was referring to earlier that can be very helpful if you find them early on to progress through some of the harder bosses.
Definitely, definitely. So it looks like Natara is taking a strategy to start making a headway towards key item locations. Alexa's looting just a little bit more. With T4 on, I don't blame her. That you can find just amazing loot anywhere you search in the world, without having to even fight a single enemy.
Absolutely. And with the S4 flag on, that also means that the shops may contain very powerful items. So you may see a lot of shopping early on from either or both of our runners. And Stardust and Zeus Rage, both very good finds.
Definitely. The Stardust being an item that duplicates the Comet spell that the twins you may have seen with their Twin Cast ability. Very handy. It ignores Reflect. It affects all enemies on the screen, so that can definitely do work until your boss fights start having more HP than it can really deal with, of course.
And it looks like Netara picked up an adamant armor somewhere in the mix. The best armor in the game. If you've played this game casually, you have likely never even seen that item. It's the most rare item as it comes from a drop, the rarest drop from the rarest enemy in the game. But it's definitely most powerful. It boosts all your stats and pretty much makes that character invincible.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if our runners find a few more of those, don't be surprised if this seed comes in well under estimate. Adamant armor, just beautiful find. Should do a lot of work for our runners this race.
Yeah, early edge, early adamant armor. You're gonna see this go pretty quick, with seeing some pretty low-level bosses be taken care of very fast.
And even some of the rougher bosses, Asura being quite frequently a bit of a roadblock in this randomizer if you fight her early because of her powerful healing magic. But Natara having no problem whatsoever, just running roughshod right over her with Edge and getting a Luca key for her troubles.
And I saw some question in the chat about possibly why random encounters they're not running into random encounters, and that's due to the E flag, which is set to E3. It gives the runners the option to toggle the encounters on and off at their will, depending on whether or not they want to run into them. It makes the game much smoother from a standpoint of if you want to have that control, which a lot of people seem to prefer.
Definitely. A lot of the older Final Fantasies do have some might say slightly excessive encounter rate, and the E3 flag just makes it so much more playable, so much more watchable, so much less frustrating to actually, go through the game and get to the end in a reasonable amount of time.
I agree with that 100%, and the developers also understand this and have been working on trying to incentivize random encounters. So you may see that change in the future. It looks like Alexa has run into Kainazo, I believe, at is she at the Baron Inn or Fabul? I missed where she had gone in, but we do see Edge as the duplicate character at Baron. So Netara won't be picking up anything new here except a key item.
And yes, that Kainazo was at the Baron Inn. We're having a little bit of a high five going on here in the Baron Inn pub. Both of our runners fighting Kainazo, and Alexa making great use of those Stardust items.
That sync, though. So that'll be Alexa picking up Edge, so may not even check Hobbs, or if she does check Hobbs, will not have to actually go through that battle.
And it's interesting to see how these strategies will affect each runner's time, because having Edge definitely is making these fights easier on Netara, but if you never even have to check the location, that does give a little time back to Alexa as well.
Absolutely. Looks like the adamant item, which is one of the two necessary components to turn in for the Excalibur for Paladin Cecil. One of the less hype items, you may say, but a key item nonetheless, and that does go towards the count of 10 key items, which with that E3 flag I mentioned earlier, will boost the experience you gain by double if you find 10 key items, which is very, very helpful later on in the game when you're trying to gain those levels to fight the final boss.
Another thing I'll point out, Bill, about the current flag set that our runners are using that actually makes the adamant key item even less hype is that the pass item, which you, in Free Enterprise, of course, can use to shortcut your way to the final boss, is included in their key item pool. So it's possible that the Legend Sword doesn't even appear this seed, making that adamant key item otherwise kind of useless.
And that's one of the pass does replace one of the non-essential key items like Adamant, Legend Sword, Pink Tail, and I believe one other. So if you see Adamant, that's just one more chance that the Pink Tail is going to be replaced by that pass, and you never want to see that.
Of course not. And that fourth item, of course, being the spoon, and
The
given
spoon,
that
yes.
both our runners have edge, that's thousands of damage just at your fingertips. And part of the balance breakfast.
Looks like we got Alexa dipping into the Antlion Cave as well, where she will find the Azura boss.
Meanwhile, Netara charging into Baron Castle, which has slightly higher level bosses than some of the other overworld spots, but given that Edge comes preloaded at level 25, probably won't have too much difficulty with either of these fights.
Yeah, when you get early Edge and early Adamant armor, that really opens up a lot of what you can check comfortably. So we may see quite a bit of a route divergence between our two runners.
Accordingly, if Alexa picks up her adamant armor in the Antlion Cave, she may also begin to diverge and go away from some of the easier early boss fights.
Sometimes that can come back to bite you if you skip some of those earlier spots because you get a powerful item or powerful party. There may be a crucial item that you miss early on that you have to go back to, or that you may even forget about. So it'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out.
Although that is one of my favorite things about the Free Enterprise randomizer. A lot of randomizers, it'll change the characters and what you fight, but you still have one path that you have to follow. Our runners each having, this array of choices available to them, I think makes things a lot more interesting than it would be if they were just racing down the exact same path.
Completely agree. We're about to see the second boss in the Baron Castle here. Let's see who the Imposter King was. And it's Star.
Which lunar boss do we have lurking on the throne?
Pale Dim, one of the better lunar bosses to find early on for sure.
Definitely, the more of an annoyance than an actual hindrance, so long as you have some non-elemental damage to throw at it.
And those counter slows every time you attack Pale Dim with a physical attack, it will counter with the slow spell, which can drag on. But given that this spot only has about 3k HP, it should be relatively quick for Edge to take it out.
Alexa taking a rather quick shortcut back out of Antlion Cave. I'm uncertain if she used an exit item or if she cast the spell with Tella, but saving that backtracking walk out of the cave, always nice, saving the time of, just looking at all the chests you've already looted.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the best the best parts of getting Tella early is that exit spell. If you don't find the items, just having Tella, if for nothing else, then that exit spell is pretty handy.
And look who was hiding out in the Baron Dungeons. That is a walking mop on Alexa's team, on Natara's team now. Should be. There are very few things that will stand in her way at this point.
And he's called the walking mop because he really cleans up those enemies. Waka waka. We got Miss Dragon over at Fabul, which is with that no free lunch flag enabled. That will also be a key item that Alexa will have access to should she return to Mist and talk to Rydia's mother lying on the floor.
Lying on the floor, lying on the floor. Please don't mute the VOD. That was copyrighted protection. No. But yeah, so we will likely see 2 key items back to back here. One from actually having beaten the gauntlet, given the Legend Sword, and we'll see if Alexa makes her way back to Mist as well.
Looks like Alexa's choosing to equip Edge with the Power Robe instead of the Adamant Armor, as well as the Zeus Gauntlet. Power Robe is also very good as it boosts the strength and attack power of whoever equips that.
Definitely. And although it doesn't have quite the defensive bonuses of the Adamant Armor, early on with Edge's levels, he should be just fine.
Looks like Netara picked up the Twin Harp, so we may see a dip into Magnus Cave and hear the random song.
Another one of my favorite things about Free Enterprise, of course. Those of you who've not played this randomizer yet, just wait until we have to knock down a certain evil elf, and get ready to play Name That Tune.
Netara checking the treasures in Toroya Castle, and Alexa receiving the hook from Rydia's mother, which gives us underground access. With Edge, that's certainly a play on the table for Alexa.
And it is a bit of a risk, though. Although our runners are not guaranteed to find the Magma Key, that can be a very difficult fight in the upper Babel reaches. So we'll see if either runner ends up making that gamble, or if they decide to clear out a few more key item locations first.
Yeah, if Hook is your only underground access, it can be a roadblock for many runners because you simply don't have the levels sometimes to be able to take it out, and it takes a bit to grind up to be able to take out the boss. And it does look like Netara is dipping into Magnus Cave, so I'm very, very excited about this. I cannot wait to see what song we're about to hear. And I'm not sure if it's Netara's game audio that's coming through the stream. I certainly hope so if it is, so that we can all enjoy this experience.
It sure is. I love that Chocobo music.
Excellent.
Awesome. And meanwhile, Alexa actually making that dive. I'm wondering if she's going to attempt to go all the way through Upper Babel into the underground, or if maybe she's just checking the loot options as well as the free character at the end of the cave.
Indeed. And I see a question in chat about what's necessary to complete the game. I guess we haven't really set up how to progress in this randomizer. There are 17 key items. There are 3 that allow you to basically put you in what we call go mode, which means that you're able to complete the game. One is the crystal item that, if you're familiar with the game, it's what Golbez gives you right before the fight with Zeromus that Cecil uses to unlock Zeromus's final form. The other 2 items are access to the final boss, one being the Dark Crystal, which gives you the Lunar Whale from Mysidia and allows you to travel to the moon. The other is the Pass, as Invenerable previously stated, that allows you a direct path to the final fight from the inn at Toroya.
Exactly. Netara checking her gear one more time before challenging the Dark Elf. Of course, the first fight here, completely scripted, no way to win it. But going ahead and taking care of inventory now, maybe to speed up the scripted party wipe.
And it looks like both her Yang and Edge are just stacked to the brim in armor. So they're doing pretty good equipment-wise. I would wager that she is feeling pretty comfortable with her party at this point. The only thing that's kind of shaky is maybe no healer other than Fusoya.
So another thing, by the way, is having found both the Legend Sword and the Adamant, we now know that one of our missing key items replaced by the Pass is either the spoon or the pink tail. But given how many adamant armors our runners have already found, probably not going to be heartbroken if that pink tail never shows up.
Absolutely. And here we go. We've got the harp song very quickly about to be played. Oh, come on, Edward. Get to that harp and play that darn song. Oh, it's the tension, the weight.
The anticipation.
That's the word I was looking for.
Oh, it's just a sweet little Final Fantasy town song. Very nice. I believe that's Children Run Through the Streets. Not absolutely certain on the title.
I'm gonna trust you on that one. I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy it.
I mean, Dark Elves, you know, they just can't stand the idea of children having fun. It makes them turn into violent sea serpents, in fact. Ogopogo actually kind of a convenient boss to find in this spot, because Ogopogo has tons of counters for if you hit it with, you know, various magics and items and everything. And the Dark Elf spot has such high magic defense, you're probably not going to use that much spell power against it anyway.
I completely agree. It's a very, very nice combo to find here.
Alexa about to see who her fourth character will be.
Really hem-hawing about whether to pick up Dark Knight Cecil there.
And can hardly blame her. Dark Knight Cecil is hands down the worst character in the game. Worse than Edward, worse than Tella. No good equipment. You have to go on basically a fetch quest to make him remotely worthwhile. But if you do, you may get the hardest hitter in the game. But do you really want to spend that time when you're already this close to the underground?
It really is a big gamble, and you're not even guaranteed to turn him into a hard hitter because it's entirely dependent on equipment if you turn Cecil into a paladin. So it's you'll see a lot of runners kind of stay away from Cecil, even though as a casual player, I loved Cecil. It was my favorite character, you know. Had the best equipment, did the most damage most of the time. But it's just in this randomizer, I see a lot of people stay away from him.
And the Dark Elf Crystal Podium giving Netara the pass, so she will not have to do the long hike through the Lunar Core whenever she ultimately finds her crystal. Excellent.
Now it looks like Alexa is going to make the play on ordeals to turn Cecil into a paladin. So banking on finding that equipment and turning him into a damage dealer, or possibly using Cecil as her anchor.
Definitely.
Now we can explain that anchor business if you'd like.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it a go. I'll also point out, though, that, of course, both our runners do have Tella still, and completing ordeals will unlock the rest of his spell suite, which could also be very helpful, especially if they have to go through Upper Babel to reach the Underworld.
Absolutely. I guess we'll see what this key item is on ordeals, whether or not that is something they will need to do.
As for, like you were saying, relative agility and ATB and all that, Final Fantasy IV is it has a very interesting ATB system, one of their earlier attempts at it, and ultimately, the long and short of it is that your enemy's speed, as well as your party speed, will either be based on Cecil's agility, if he's in the party, or if not, whoever's in the middle slot, or it then goes through a hierarchy of which spot if the middle one's not full. And so, if you have Cecil, you may, well, if Alexa keeps Cecil, we may see her working to keep his agility at a very specific range of values to make sure that the final boss fight goes as easy as possible.
And if you want a TLDR of that, just this line will help. This game is well programmed.
I think that's every Super Nintendo game, is it not?
Pretty much.
Oh, Alexa, goodness.
Yeah, this is not a great spot to find gold, Bez.
I mean, is there a great spot to fight Golbez? Let's be honest here.
There's not. Golbez is very terrifying to find in this randomizer. He will kill all but 2 of your party members, and in most spots, the magic power stat is usually higher than where you find him in the vanilla location. So he will just wreak havoc on your party unless you can get a wall up very quickly.
And that is one thing about the flags that our runners are using today. Japanese items are turned on, so Moon Veils and Star Veils are available, and they can pretty much neutralize the Golbez fight as long as you're fast enough to get one off.
Yeah, that's entirely dependent on whether Golbaz is super speedy because of the agility stat of the slot that he's taken over. It's terrifying. It really is. I have nightmares about it sometimes.
And of course, there are other ways to manipulate it as well, and I think that's actually what Alexa is doing. I think she's trying to purposely knock off a couple of her characters, so she guarantees which 2 survive the Shadow Dragon attack.
It's a very smart strategy. It's one that I really wish I would have thought of myself, but I had to have it explained to me. It's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen many runners who, so used to playing the vanilla game. They fought Golbez, 1,001 times, where it's guaranteed who he's going to knock down. And then on Free Enterprise, they'll fight him again and again and again, hoping for certain characters to get knocked off without realizing, oh, I can do this myself.
Is this a good time for me to cut in with a donation?
Absolutely.
Oh, always. Go for it.
I have $50 from Fufoof here towards
Wow.
towards naming a character Butts, who says, good luck to Alexa and Netara. Also, Butts Butt is best butt.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
They will
fantastic.
They will be so thrilled if that name holds on.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Donate to Butts, y'all. Donate to Butts.
I am so excited for it. I mean, I think that might have put it into the lead, so let me check.
Get those donations in if you don't want to see a character named Butts, but you will also incur the wrath of the commentators. I'm just forewarning.
And probably the runners as well. After
Oh, wow,
that.
there's BUTZ and... come on. Okay, maybe it's not showing up yet for the one that I just saw. But yeah, there is a Butts though, and they need it's 6 characters, top 5 taken. Oh right, top 5 taken. Yeah, so there is a BUTZ that is in at the moment.
Maybe we could get 5 different spellings of Butts and just take a complete party of Butts to the final fight.
Oh my goodness! And if you did that, that would just by nature of the pigeonhole principle, that would bring us to 10K. So start thinking about it. Yeah.
That is hashtag the dream right there. All right, we're going to see Alexa take on the back attack spot when it looks like it's Bagan, which might be a little dangerous. Of course, when you have edge and adamant armor, what is anything dangerous?
Well, that the drain spell and the speed of the slot may still cause an issue or two, but we'll see. But I think she's got it. This is going to be a solo edge run. No other characters required.
It looks like we've got another high five going on. We've got Alexa and Netara both taking on ordeals. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out, the route divergence, or if they continue on the same path after they leave ordeals.
Absolutely. Chat going a little crazy here, being very excited about the prospect of having 5 Butts in a fight at once. The dream.
The dream. Hashtag the dream.
Also, Ariel, bringing up mathematical theorems this early on a Sunday, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm sorry. That's like
Was
the
that the
only one I
darkness?
know. I promise. I've never even had a calculus class, so
It's looking like that possibly the darkness crystal was the item at ordeals, which is a pretty big find, especially since Alexa does not have the pass yet.
Definitely, and a lot of runners, will avoid the Dark Elf spot. It is a bit of a slog to go all the way through the cave, Cave Magnus, and go through the Edward cutscene. I mean, we all love the added feature, the soundtrack, the name that tune, but it is kind of an extra 5-6 minutes out of your way that other spots don't necessarily entail.
Yeah, I think without that randomized song, we wouldn't see anyone ever go to Magnus Cave. It would just simply be a forfeit at that point because it's just it's too long. And we do see Cecil turn into a paladin. I'm not sure if Alexa has found, if either runner has found any equipment for Cecil yet, other than a few pieces of crystal armor, which certainly do help. Other than that crystal armor making you immune to Berserk. That's certainly some good defensive statistics.
And also, absolutely, and with Cecil having the cover ability, which lets him take hits for another party member, of your choosing, there are some boss fights that you can literally tank through, just by having him take all the damage and then one other character healing him up as need be.
One thing of note as well is Netara has not found the hook yet. So not having the knowledge of how to get to underground yet, I think the only place for Netara to check would be where the hook is, though, so it may just be a matter of moments.
I believe you're right. We pretty much exhausted the overworld, and yeah, only one option left for Netara to check. Let's see if Alexa goes ahead and heads back underground, or if she decides to clear out a few more overworld spaces.
Ladies and gentlemen and Smizmars, we have a hook seed.
So, Hookseed, you might, I hate to compare this game, to the Link to the Past randomizer, because everything gets compared to the Link to the Past randomizer, but this is pretty much our version of Aghanim or Pedestal, I would say. Would you not agree?
I agree. I would say Aghanim's a very good comparison, just simply because it's, roughly a third to a halfway between being able to go to the end, because you really do need that underground access unless you can get to the moon and the crystal is on the moon in a higher K value of a flag. Oh, I believe we are on K1, are we not? Where they do not really need to go to the moon other than to use it as a vehicle to get to Zero Miss?
That's correct.
Okay.
So that makes us wonder then, what could be one of the worst bosses for them to encounter? Luckily, they have already dealt with Kenatsu. They fought him in the Barren Inn. So literally the worst possible enemy is already accounted for, in my opinion at least. What would you hate to see at that? Oh, we should actually know what's at the spot already. Alexa spotted that enemy when she picked up Cecil. So I'm over here hypothesizing for no good reason. Pardon me.
Well, hey, I'll tell you, that's a great point. I don't remember what it was either. I was seeing that Dark Knight Cecil and just lamenting the fact that Alexa had to have Dark Knight Cecil in her party.
So are you saying in the Eblin Cave you also had a little bit of a tunnel vision?
Hi-yo! All right, we see both runners complete ordeals. Netara descending down the mountain, and we're seeing Alexa make the play on Baron that Netara has already been through. There, she will find Fusoya. I don't remember what key item was there. I believe it was the pass. So we'll see maybe some convergence of our runners here in the Eblin Cave coming up.
I will go ahead and confirm for you that it was actually, I believe, the Twin Harp, because I know the pass was at the Dark Elf spot.
Aha! Yes.
Of course. Oh, let's see. Is Netara finally getting her Rydia Mom item? There's the hook, and that leaves only one way down.
And again, that is only available because of a specific flag that they are playing with called the No Free Lunch flag. We kind of glazed over what that means. That means that in this randomizer, you'll pick up characters in the spots they normally appear in the vanilla game. The No Free Lunch a flag will take that out. You can't get characters, say, in Damsian, on Mount Ordeals, the twins in Mysidia. That's two quick characters. You won't be able to get that. There's also an item, because Edward usually gives you the twin harp in Toroya, so it takes that away and instead puts that item gated behind killing the Mist Dragon, wherever it may be, which can be in some pretty hard to get to locations, and puts that item on Rydia's mother, as you just saw Netara pick up.
And that is hands down one of the trolliest things that Free Enterprise can do. Just hide that Mist Dragon in the worst possible place, boss locations that you probably would never visit otherwise, and then you actually have to hunt it down for that last key item to beat the game.
And speaking of comparisons to the Legend of Zelda randomizer, that's probably the most akin to a pedestal seed, is needing to know where that Mist Dragon is as your last key item, and it's somewhere where you wouldn't check, say, the Giant of Babel CPU spot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One thing I am wondering now, though, given that our runners do have the Darkness Crystal, which unlocks a character on the moon. There are no key items there, but there is the item shop in the Hummingway Cave, and there is a character there, which, given that both our runners are still rocking Tella, may be looking for a substitution. Or actually, no, they only have 4 characters. They have to do that if they want a... Oh, sorry. Each one has a different 4 characters. Apologies. So, yeah, they can each have 5 characters to go straight into Upper Babel, but if they want to sub out Tella, they would need to make a run for the moon.
And there are a lot of trap chests up on the moon as well. Given that it's T4, you're likely not going to see that play, because they're just equipped to the brim. But it's not unheard of to dip the moon even on a K1 to maybe get some gear or grind some levels on the random encounters in the lunar subterrane. But they will have 5 characters, whether it's the 5 characters they want. A play on the moon might be worth it. It is a long cutscene to unlock the whale, travel up to the moon, see the cutscene of the character, travel back from the moon. I mean, it's kind of a risk reward situation there.
Absolutely. And Alexa's Cecil now decked out with an Excalibur, 3 pieces of crystal gear, and then sadly the mismatched dragon gauntlets. But otherwise, almost completely sparkly.
I must have missed where that Excalibur was. That's a pretty big find for turning Paladin Cecil. That Excalibur, of course, being the second most powerful weapon for Cecil, turns him into a powerhouse pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Netara, definitely not running for the moon character, going to probably pick up Cecil here, who will already be a paladin since she has completed Ordeals. You don't have to take him back there a second time if you've already done it. And then probably going to go ahead and push through the Upper Tower of Babel.
And we're seeing that resource management come into play here on Natara's screen. She's selling some items to try and get some money to buy these Bacchus wines that she found in the Eblin shop. The Bacchus wine is a Japanese item that casts Berserk on the user. The main benefit is that it goes through the wall spell as well. So it's very handy to find. It doesn't rely on using your white mages to cast Berserk, and Berserk is such a powerful spell in this game. It's just a completely sought after item, so that's a big pickup, and she bought 20 of them, so we may see her use some even as soon as that Leviathan spot, or I'm sorry, that Rubicante spot.
And another big feature that makes them just so handy, going back to how they programmed ATB in this game, is that if a character on your team is berserked, you don't have to wait for their turn to come back around and input their command. As soon as that bar fills up, they'll go ahead and queue up an attack command without you having to do the work yourself. And that can cause them to get many more turns in battle than you would otherwise get doing it manually.
Absolutely. Thank you. That is what makes it so powerful, especially when you have Edge with an adamant armor that boosts his agility. You may see Edge go 3 to 4 times before, one of your turns on a mage.
Absolutely.
It's pretty crazy.
It's going to be some good damage, whatever decides to get in our runner's way at this point.
And I believe Alexa has taken down both bosses in Baron. and will likely be making the play on Eblin Cave as well.
She has her mop now. Let's see. She may actually. Okay.
Magnus
Uh,
Cave.
Yeah. Oh, changing her mind. Changing her mind.
I have,
Commentator's curse.
I have $4 here from Xandra, who says, "Best of luck to the runners." Also, "Dip the Moon" is the name of my next album now.
Awesome.
Less than 3 heart. Also, $2 from Fufoof, who says, "All right, now both of the butts should be in the top 5." I think they already were, Fufoof, but appreciate your money, and now there's room for another.
Get those butts in. Get those donations in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what we'll do also, sorry to cut you off there, Invenerable. I think a good idea to cut off the donation incentives would be possibly go mode at this point.
I would say that when we see the crystal, both our runners will probably try to find a way to grind at that point, and that's probably a good time to go ahead and kind of, especially since they'll both have pass and can head to the final boss on a moment's notice.
Although the one thing I worry about is that might give information to our runners if they're suddenly told, donation incentives are stopped. But maybe I'm thinking too much about that.
Marathon, it happens.
Maybe, but it's for fun, and I think that they know that, and I think they'll be fine with it. Just
Looks
a thought. I don't know.
Netara's got a full inventory there. That is one of the parts of a Japanese flag that you'll see come into play quite a bit, is that inventory will fill up so fast when you are treasure hunting and you have so many Japanese items to kind of sift through. It really clutters up that inventory quickly.
Mm-hmm. And so many of them have niche uses, just that, oh, well, if I run into this boss, all of a sudden I know it's trivialized if I have a few of this item on me. A boss that does only physical attacks, you may want to have a stack of illusion items. A boss that only does magic, having a stack of star veils, just completely neutralizes the fight. So it can be very hard to have room for all the loot you want in a J flag seed.
Absolutely. And we've seen Netara going to pick up Paladin Cecil as well, and it looks like it may be a vanilla Rubicante if it's not the 4 elements.
Ironically, the 4 elements actually an easier fight in that slot than the base Rubicante,
Yep.
just because of how their HP are programmed. So if it is the elements fight, I expect this to be a fairly trivial upper babble.
Especially with that Excalibur sword, given that Mylon Z is weak to Holy, that'll make him shift pretty fast, and from there it's a quick fight.
I have a question in chat. Will Crystal be on the moon? It is definitely possible for Crystal to be on the moon under some flags, but with K1 active, our racers will not have to go to the moon to find the crystal.
Yeah, unfortunately, we will probably not see a whole lot of moon here. I'm very happy that we're going to see at least a portion of it, given that that is exactly where Alexa is headed right now.
If you do want to see the full moon experience, of course, both Alexa and Netara run this game pretty frequently. So tune into one of their streams, and they'll probably be running some of those higher K-level flags, and you'll get to see just how cruel the game can be.
Absolutely. Follow these runners if you're not already. And also, if you want to try this randomizer out for yourself, there's a wonderful community on the Discord and a website where you can check this game out for yourself, and you can even try those higher level K flags yourself and do a world tour of the moon looking for that crystal. I know I've done it many times, not being frustrated at all with the location of that crystal.
I gotta say real fast that I have friends who run this. I don't myself, but I'm friends with Alexa, and I'm friends with several other folks who run Free Enterprise, and honestly, like, just the amount of positivity and stuff in the community makes me want to run it, and I've never even played this before. So if you're looking to get into this, Free Enterprise is a great way to, or if you're looking to get into this, the Free Enterprise community is great.
So what I'm hearing, Ariel, is that you're going to be doing your first free enterprise seed when?
I am definitely considering this, if only just for like fun, but the thing is I haven't played FF4, so I'm kind of at a loss until I do that. So I actually have been thinking about doing some casual streams for the some casual, just like playing through FF4 casually at some point, and then maybe after that we'll see.
Awesome. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, either way, enough about me. Follow these runners.
It looks like Netara is checking all the chests in Upper Babel here and has run into, I believe, our first trap chest of the seed. One thing about trap chests in this randomizer is that they will generally have higher level treasure. So it's sometimes a very good idea to hunt for these trap chests, both for the experience of the encounter as well as the chance at higher level loot.
Absolutely. The if you're running with lower level T flags, if you're doing T2 or T3, you won't find the nice, like the adamant armor, the Excalibur sword that our runners have found, but you might still get it from a trap chest.
Yep, it really, without that T4, T3 and less, absolutely, I agree. It completely boosts the value of these trap chests, and you will often see runners make their way towards those, given that there's a few at the Eblin Castle, as well as this one in Upper Babel.
Also, while we were discussing the virtues of the wonderful free enterprise community, which every one of you should want to be a part of, Alexa found a young black mage by the name of Palom in the moon spot and promptly ditched the old man in favor of the Quake casting Mysidian prodigy.
That may be kind of confusing to someone who's maybe only played FF4 casually. Why would you ever take Palom? He's a bit character. He doesn't get very high level in the vanilla experience. You couldn't be more wrong in this randomizer. He is one of the best spellcasters. I believe his stats are the highest. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Invenerable. And he learns his spells relatively quickly. So he is a powerhouse at higher levels.
Absolutely. He's a powerhouse at lower levels. How soon does he get Quake? Like level 21, 22? I mean, he can just mop up everything you encounter through the mid-game. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think one level up and he gets Ice 2 and Fire 2 right off the bat. And it's just that makes early gaming, if you can find Palom early, it kind of trivializes some of the content, which is nice to have.
23. Thank you, Demarine. I was one level shy. Meanwhile, Netara running into everyone's favorite boss fight, the Fabul Gauntlet in the Eblin royalty spot. So we may be here a while. Good time to stretch your legs. Good time to get those donations in, and yeah, just sit back while she proceeds to slay 16 enemies in a row.
For 0 experience.
Even better.
Yeah, this is one of the most hated bosses, up there with Golbez, not because it's ever hard, but because it is the biggest time waste.
Absolutely. Even if you fight this in some of the harder locations, the pauses you get kind of between the fights, I mean, when you get to the one that Netara just cleared with the Weeper, the Water Hag, and the Imp Captain, I mean, you can leave just the lone Imp standing and heal up, use your items as you need to, and just generally restore yourself before getting back to the harder interim fights.
Yeah, it's not a bad strategy. I had never even thought about that.
Oh, I gotta stop sharing all my secrets, Bill.
Share all the secrets.
I'm gonna cut in if this is a good time.
Yes.
Always a good time for donations.
Awesome. Okay, I don't have any donations right now, which is a
Always a good
problem.
time for Ariel.
Oh, thank you. So how's it going? What you thinking about? I am thinking about donation incentives. I am here to remind you that we still have the party names bid race going on. and also Spazer versus Pride in Pokemon Diamond. That one may be decided. That's a pretty big disparity there. And there I go again with the big words. And other than that, Earthbound names could be used, but honestly, we've met a lot of these donation incentives, which is rad. We also have the best donation incentive, which is getting to $10,000, which would be absolutely phenomenal. We're really looking forward to seeing, if or when. I think it'll be when. But
I'd like to see it happen before the end of this race myself. How about y'all?
yeah,
Absolutely. And you guys have been doing such a great job. This is such a wonderful cause. And you guys are really stepping up to the plate. So kudos to all of you for donating, and to the organizers and everyone putting on this event. This has been wonderful.
well, thank you. And yeah, definitely thanks to the donators. I mean, we're not here without y'all, but we also do this for y'all. So, and all we ask in return is to donate to the Good Trevor Project. On this here third day of our Pride Month. So, yeah, get those donations in. I'm very excited to see what y'all come up with these names. It looks like somebody took my 10K Pan May, and now it is out of order a little bit. May is ahead of 10K Pan, but that's okay. So, it's really, I mean, that's, $20 for the name that's in first right now. So whatever, it's really there for the taking, and I think this Earthbound run is going to be fantastic. I'm already super excited for it. Not because it's the end of the marathon, I will definitely miss it, but because it's going to be fun. Uko's going to be great. We're going to get that good Tony letter with the romantic subtexts, and I look forward to it. I think it'll be a very comfy, very fun time for everyone involved. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ariel.
Yeah.
And if you're looking to get in donations for this run right here for the Final Fantasy IV party names, it may be clipping off here very soon, because we're not sure when these runners will find the crystal, but that is where we're cutting off the donation incentives. So get them in quick if you want to donate to those party names.
Yeah, definitely. You go ahead, and I was gonna say thank you, Invenerable and Billbotics. This is great commentary, and you're both great people, so thank you.
Well, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Right back at you.
Oh, well, thank you. Anyway, I'll let you get back to it.
All right, it looks like we got Vanilla Rubicante. Just to point out, we do have Vanilla Rubicante, which is one of the easier bosses to find in that spot. Sorry about that, Invenerable. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I was just wondering, are we still only at 2 butts in the top 5, or
We are.
has someone come up with a third spelling?
We are currently still only at 2 butts. We could have 3 or 4 or even 5 butts. So get those donations in. To get a butts in, your minimum donation looks like $52. So maybe if you split it between some friends, you can make your dreams come true.
I just know that even with just 2 going to the final fight, Alexa will probably fall out of her chair.
Oh yeah.
when you pass those names on to her.
I am so excited. I'm so excited for the debrief post race as well. That's gonna be absolutely beautiful.
It looks like Netara has made short work of that Rubicante, so we are about to see the underground, and I could not be more excited to see where Netara goes and what we find down there.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to seeing how each of them handles their upcoming fights, because Netara never made the trip to the moon, so she still has Tella, while Alexa, of course, replacing the old sage with the young prodigy. So it could be interesting to see if that makes a difference in who they have to fight. And also, if never having gone to Dark Elf to get the pass makes a difference. Is that enough time that for Alexa to make up with Palom? Or will that end up costing her the race?
And Demerin in the chat pointed out something neat there, is that we saw the Rubicante speech mid-battle, which is something pretty rare.
Oh, that's true. The one of the side effects of the current randomization is that if a boss is moved from its vanilla spot, it kind of just has a fairly basic script. But if it is in its vanilla spot, you'll see a lot of the classic Final Fantasy IV behaviors.
And there are certain that have weird triggers, like the Karate Man Yang is a boss that we have not seen yet, but we may run into. But it has a certain win condition that if you hit him after, I believe, 2 or 3 attacks, if you just striking him once with Paladin Sissel will end the battle no matter what the HP value is, and give that ouch text box to pop up.
Absolutely. Netara making a quick dive into the Fey March here. Going to get that freebie key item just lying around in the town. Hopefully she will have some health left if she bumps into the trapped chest here. We'll have to see how that pans out.
Yeah, she's living on the edge a little bit here.
No fear.
And you're seeing the E3 flag really shine when you start seeing the dips into Sylvan Cave and the Fey March here, because you do not have to worry about random encounters. So just walking straight through makes them such quick checks.
Because normally you come through here and you have all the damage floors, and you either have to take the time to heal up or make sure a character knows the float spell. But with that E3 flag, zoom, gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
Do either of you have a list of the flags? Someone in chat is asking for it, and I would like to make a Nightbot command for it.
I do not. I copied and pasted the wrong ones.
Yeah, I have the ones that they were using for practice, and I believe it's the same ones. Let me actually pull those up for you right quick.
Sweet.
I believe these, I just put them in the tech setup channel. I believe
Cool.
those are the correct flags.
Cool. Also, real fast while I have ya, $50 donation, which is a ton, and pushes us over to $9.5 thousand from Chiron HR, who says, "I heard you like donations." That's towards Xandra for the Final Fantasy Randomizer race, which means now that I believe has a significant lead. Yeah, but we still have 2 butts, so there still could be more. But yeah, that's raising the bar. If you wanted to have 5 butts, you will have to exceed that much.
Looks like we found the pan as the key item in the Fey March, which is going to the Fey March first may pay off very well for Netara, as that will save a double dip in the Sylvan Cave.
Absolutely. Always good to find that item. Just to, I mean, with the E3 flag, like we mentioned, it's not difficult to run through Sylph Cave, but if you want to beat your opponent, you don't want to double dip unless absolutely necessary.
Yes. And they do have the Luca key as well. And with the glitchless flag on, we may see a dip into there as well, because they can't just use the glitch to warp back into the Crystal Room in Dwarf Castle.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Another little bit of item management. As we've said, the J flags and also with T4 active, just an embarrassment of riches.
It's kind of alluding to the fact that both of our runners may not feel comfortable with their current equipment. They may be looking for weapons for Edge, or maybe some of their lesser geared characters, just continuing to check those chests and shops. It looks like Alexa's making the same play into the Fey March. This is a very close race. This is a fantastic watch. I'm very excited to see how this is going to turn out.
Oh, definitely, and just the smallest of little wrinkles could make the difference. So, looking forward to seeing how it pans out.
I would imagine if it were me and I got the pan out of Fey March, I would go directly to Sylvan Cave, but we'll see.
Absolutely.
2 key items. You can't turn down 2 key items. If you're familiar with the vanilla experience, there's 2 key items that you can get out of Sylvan Cave simply because you go to Sylvan Cave, you find Yang laying in the bed being taken care of by these woodland creatures that are in a volcano for some reason, and you go back to his wife, tell her that you found him there, even if you are him, and then she gives you an item, usually the pan in the vanilla experience. Then you go back, hit Yang with that pan, go back to her and turn in the pan for another key item. So having the pan to go in the first time allows you to get 2 key items, or a shot at 3 if you have a higher level K item, because that Sylph is a summon.
Absolutely. And then if you go even higher on the K item scale and you start having to check all the trap chests, and the Sylph Cave having more of them than I believe any dungeon other than the Lunar Subterrane.
Yeah, it's pretty much the hype cave at that point. I'm so sorry. So many references to LOZ.
How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Seeing some shopping from Netara.
Ooh, getting those Ether 2s without, again, the glitchless flag, we know it's enabled at least, so there will be no MP underflows. So if, Tello or Fu do start to run low on magic points, those Ethers will be the way to get them back up to fighting force.
And there was also the Hourglass 3 in that shop. And one thing I'd like to point out is that when I started playing this randomizer, I had no idea what any of those Japanese items did. But luckily, the community over in the Final Fantasy Free Enterprise Discord has come up with a newbie guide and a resource page that just phenomenally explains everything and kind of walks you through everything. So if you're hesitant about trying this randomizer out, don't be. There's a wonderful community and wonderful resources out there that can get you started and get you playing this quickly.
Absolutely. And if you've played Final Fantasy IV previously, if you know it's a game you fondly remember from your childhood, this can be a way to give it a little bit of fresh life. But otherwise, there are people who've gotten into the randomizer who never even played the vanilla game. So it's definitely worth giving a shot.
And my favorite sound effect, I like to call it pang.
It's a very good sound effect. Used a few other places as well, I believe.
Yes. Getting a full moon from the Sylphs. Oh, looks like Alexa's turning in the Adamant and Legend Sword. Going to get another Excalibur to throw, and likely the reason is to check out the shop to see what it might hold, because it does unlock that shop. In the vanilla, it sells, I believe, ninja stars, or maybe just shurikens. But it is I think it's the highest. The shop it has the possibility of containing the highest items of any shop in the game.
I believe you are correct. Sometimes though, the randomization can leave you a little bit disappointed. We'll see how Alexa feels once we get over to the purchase menu instead of just the sell menu.
Come on, diet food.
Artemis arrows for sale. Those are one of my favorite items. Although I don't think she'll have any trouble slaying any dragons in her way right now.
That brings up a good point. Have we found any sirens? I have not seen either runner find the siren item, which can be very helpful when grinding.
I don't think so, but I think there may be some item shops that they've not checked. Did either of them visit Capo earlier?
Yes. Yep. Because they got blocked on the bridge, and as well as the the old woman at the inn.
That's right. That's right. All the NPCs getting in the way. Sheila sending Netara on, Sheila being Young's wife, we all call her by her proper name, unlike the original translator, sadly. Getting both a Sand Ruby and a Rat Tail. Sand Ruby, if she likes, will let Netara swap out a character up in Capo. And the Rat Tail will unlock yet another key item, which should put her well past, maybe right at the 10 key item mark, I believe. We'll know shortly enough.
Yeah, it'll be pretty close. And I would not surprise me to see Netara go use that Sand Ruby. I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing what the character was there, but almost anybody but Edward's going to be better than Tella at this point.
Now that you mention it, I do know Alexa checked that spot, but she took like the one step, took a peek, and walked right back down before I could really get eyes on them. So we'll know soon enough. And if that's not a good enough character, Earth Crystal will give Netara 2 more.
All the characters. Oh, it looks like chat is pointing out Rosa is at Sand Ruby, and that is huge.
Rosa is Bae. It is known.
And not only is Rosa the best character, hashtag unbiased, they don't have a good healer. I mean, Fusoya can heal in a pinch, but with the minimal HP growth and limited MP until you hit level 70, you're looking for that healer, and it looks like Netara is going straight to Rosa. That is definitely a play I would make as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the question is, what option will she go with next? With Rosa, I would say that this is a fantastic endgame party. So Tower of Zot may have 2 characters, but only has 1 key item, whereas going back underground may lead to several more.
Yeah, that's a really tough spot. It's kind of a coin flip that has 4 sides. But you could go Dwarf Castle as well. There's a character there and 1 key item. 2 bosses to power up Fu. Oh, they don't have the Fusoya. Do they have the Fusoya challenge on?
They do. But I think they've fought enough at this point. I'm not positive.
Yeah, I can't remember seeing if he had reached full power yet. And to kind of explain that flag a little bit to those who are unfamiliar, there's a Fusoya challenge flag where normally when you pick up Fusoya in the vanilla experience, he comes at you with a full spell list, every single white magic spell, every single black magic spell, 1900 hit points, level 50, some wonderful equipment. With the Fusoya challenge flag, it knocks all those spells out of the way. With the second level of that flag, and he gradually earns those spells as you defeat bosses, as well as HP. So that's I can't remember what spells. They've definitely been casting Nuke, so at that point it's kind of moot. But
Yeah, I think they have Nuke. I think they have Quake. That's all you need. I don't need all the spells. I just need 2.
It looks like Netara is checking out the treasure trove that unlocks after gaining the Earth Crystal. A lot of times you'll see some really good stuff down here in T4. Not seeing it this time, though.
Got that heroine robe if you want to make a Berserker Rosa, but I think that they already had a few of those from earlier chests, so... Yeah.
A heroine robe and Artemis arrows, that's not a terrible combo.
Hey, I'm a fan. Let's see if she goes right back in for Zot. Yeah, she's going right back in. Not just there for the loot, she actually wants the key item. And Alexa will be hot on her heels, about to turn in the rat tail.
This is such a close race.
I'm so excited. Every race I think that we've had so far has been fantastic at our event, and I'm glad to see that the blessing has continued, as it were.
I agree 100%. It may come down. I mean, Alexa has a chance to gain a little footing here if she doesn't decide to check those treasures.
Definitely. And with the loot that she's rocking, the adamant armors, the Excalibur set on Cecil, we may see if she thinks she's good to go in terms of equipment and just passes them all up.
And with no sirens being found, it'll be interesting to see how both of our runners handle gaining levels for the final fight. There's multiple ways to do it. But there's definitely preferred methods and there's definitely better methods. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
If sirens don't pop up, the 2 main methods we'll probably see one or both of are to do the D-Machine grind in the Giant of Babel, which both our runners have access to via the Darkness Crystal, or to fight trapdoors in the Sealed Cave, which, again, they both have access to via the Luca Key. So lots of grind options available. We'll have to see which one they choose.
Now, it'd be interesting to see if anyone dips Sealed Cave without doing the grind. It's only 3 doors to check that item, and if the crystal's back there, then you got that grind right afterwards.
Just fight them on your way out then if you don't want to fight them on the way down.
That's right.
And it looks like we have the exact same party now. Alexa opted to ditch Palom for Rosa as well, which kind of makes it so her jaunt to the moon may have cost her a minute or two between the cutscenes and the flight time. So we'll see if that costs her.
It's a very astute observation. And it's kind of sad that you have to get rid of your Black Mage, but when you have Fusoya already there with all the spells, it's kind of a hard sell to keep Palom at that point.
Absolutely. The just the utility of having, like you mentioned, the full suite of both white and black magic. Even though his spells won't be as strong as Palom's, even though he won't have quite the HP growth at higher levels or the magic stat, the utility just makes him so much more useful ultimately.
Yep, Rosa accidentally dies during Zero Miss. No problem. I got a life too for you.
Exactly.
So I have a question for you.
Oh, go for it.
Zeromus or Zeromus? Like
M. Bison Miss.
M. Bison Miss. Yeah. I am actually excited to see. I don't know if you are not familiar with the Free Enterprise Randomizer, Zeromus or Zeromus, however you want to say it, ends up being one of many numerous pop culture references, which is possibly the best thing about this, is to get to see what Zeromus is. But I was wondering if you have any insight as to the pronunciation, because I've heard both.
I don't know if there's been an official statement.
That's a good question. I don't. I personally, I say Zero Miss, but I have no idea on the accuracy, and I too have never heard an official pronunciation. So that's a great question.
And I'll also admit that I hover back and forth between the Super Nintendo spellings and the way I mentally pronounce the four fiends' names there, and then the more classic Italian Dante's Divine Comedy version that we get in the 3D remakes, you know, like Cainazzo, Cagnazzo, Rubicant, Rubicante. It just depends on my mood.
Scarmiglione. And it looks like Netara has found Edward in Tower of Zot, #TheDream. And also, Alexa found sirens at the Dwarf Castle shop. So we will be seeing, likely, a yellow dragon grind, making those Artemis arrows a little more powerful.
Absolutely. Everyone, you know, it's nice bright and early on a Sunday morning for those in North America, so a yellow dragon omelet sounds pretty good to me.
I have a $10 donation from Dr. D, who says, "This race is moving fast, which is bad for us people playing the Free Enterprise drinking game."
Shout outs to Dr. D, wonderful member of the Final Fantasy Free Enterprise community.
See, the D-Lunars in the Valvalus spot, and then Dark Knight Cecil. Ooh, I believe that's the doll. No, that's not the doll spot. That's in the Golbez fight. Wrong. Dark armored half Lunarian foe.
These lunar dragons can be. There's such a high variance of difficulty when you fight them. One of the most unpredictable bosses to me is how powerful they're going to be in any given seed. But it looks like Netara just makes short work of them.
Yeah, again, having Fusoya with pretty much every spell unlocked, she's going to make short work of anything she encounters in the overworld. Ooh, we're about to get 2 different key item checks. Very exciting. This could kind of determine how we go forward from here. If Netara gets the crystal here, will she ultimately find sirens or not? If Alexa finds the crystal, oh, well, there you go.
We are in go mode. If we want to shut off the donation incentives are now closed. If someone could let Netara and Alexa know, that would be wonderful.
Or actually, Ariel, what you may want to do is, since only you were worried about spoiling it for one or the other, since only Netara is in go mode, if you want to let her know, and then we can let you know once Alexa hits go mode as well.
That's a great idea.
That sounds like a good idea.
Package at the Dwarf Castle that leads to yet another character. I can't imagine Alexa will take that and check package, but you never know.
Mm-hmm. And Alexa opting to spawn the lunar well. I wonder if she intends to just go straight for the D machine grind, or perhaps grind on the moon. I can't imagine she'd want to change out any of her characters at this point. And she has the pass, so definitely shorter to just go to Troya than to go through the lunar subterrane.
Just a correction that is Netara, not Alexa.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Wrong
Just probably a slip. Yep. I have them reversed on my screen as well.
But you have you had Netara was the one who's in go mode, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Netara
Yes.
is in go mode. I did have that right.
Yes.
I have let Netara know that the names are officially Xandra, Silver, Butts with a Z, Butts with one T and a Z, and Cat with a K.
Awesome, awesome. Some good shout outs to members of the community. I
Yeah.
recognize a couple of those names, and I recognize Butts, of course.
Yeah. Who
And
doesn't?
thank you to everyone that donated for those. You're awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, y'all. That those in and of themselves raised over 200 almost, I think, like $226 or $7 just for those, and the total donations to Final Fantasy IV were $569. Nice. And yeah, that's a ton of money. Thank you all so much. Good job, everyone.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Netara picking up Palom, likely just gonna see her ditch that young little boy right out the window.
And Alexa going ahead and doing the egg grind now. Doesn't have the crystal yet, but does have 10 key items, so this will be very quick experience. So whenever she finds her crystal through Zot, she'll be ready to go as well.
And this might be a good time to bring up why that's worth so much experience, is that the X flag, which is currently set on X2, that means that the experience that they receive for every battle is not split among party members, so it makes leveling so much more palpable and takes so much less time. And also, now that they have those 10 key items, that it will be doubled. So the 34,000 that you normally get for killing the yellow dragon turns into 68,000, and boy oh boy does that go quickly.
Absolutely. Okay, it was really only a partial grind. Going to do a quick sealed cave dive, I guess, and let's see, what could she actually find here that would be problematic? The pink tail, the spoon, the magma key, none of those lead anywhere. So the only item here that will give Alexa trouble would be the tower key, because that would probably lead her to Lower Babel. As someone who has yielded to that temptation before, shout out to Demarine in the chat. Hopefully that won't happen to Alexa.
This is going to be very exciting. Now, we know that Netara is in go mode and that Alexa is still hunting for the crystal, so Netara definitely has an advantage, but the D machine grind is not incredibly easy to pull off, and Alexa has sirens, which is a foolproof way to level up for Zero Mez, so this is still anyone's race.
Absolutely, absolutely. With the sirens, of course, you just have to go to a few areas in the underground, use a siren, and boom, you have an enemy that doesn't move, doesn't attack you, doesn't take a turn, gives you all the experience you could ever want. Whereas doing the D machine grind, you have to get the right enemy formation, and there are two that look the exact same until you actually get them to call the D machine. And then the D machine itself is a pretty heavy hitter. That being said, it will go very quickly. It's just getting the setup can take a moment.
Absolutely. It looks like Spoon was the item in the sealed cave, so Alexa's just going to reset right out of there and check some other spots. We've got Netara going tile by tile to find that fight. And shout outs to FF4 community member Accident for creating a great resource on how to find this fight. If you're ever curious, just join the Discord. We've got it in the resources, but he has a graphic and a detailed explanation on how to set up this grind fight. The only problem after that is executing it. And if you don't have a character with weak, that's even harder at that point.
Absolutely. Alexa traveling up the Tower of Babel now. I'm pretty sure that she is guaranteed to get the tower key, vanilla location from the Dr. Lugay spot, because I don't think any of the other items will lead to a further one at this point.
It's just further and further down that rabbit hole that I have gone down so many times.
And of course, having found the spoon in Sealed Cave, we know that the pink tail will not be spawning under this particular seed. So that's probably all the adamant armor we're going to see. But of course, that's also probably quite enough.
Looks like we've got Karate Man Yang as the boss in the Dr. Lugay spot. Again, we talked about the win conditions earlier. Generally a pretty easy fight, but if the spot he spawns in has a high attack stat, he can get pretty difficult with his kick.
Just targets your full party. It can be difficult for a white mage to keep up with the healing. Also, I believe that the kick ignores the image status or blink or illusion, whatever you want to call it. So even if you're trying to use defensive strats, doesn't work quite as well against the karate. But you know what does work? Nuke.
Nuke cures all ails.
And Netara has found her grind fight with the D machines. They're going to be seeing a gratuitous use of the weak spell here, and probably the life glitch. Even though this is quote-unquote glitchless, not every glitch in the game is disabled. It disables specifically the item duplication, the MP underflow, and the warp glitches. But the life glitch still enabled, so that should make this this grind fight go much faster.
And that was something that the community as a whole decided. There was a vote put up on whether or not to try and develop a fix for that life glitch and include that in the glitchless flag, and the votes were basically that it should be kept in. And to kind of explain what the life glitch is that once you kill something and use the life item or the life spell on it, it will immediately resurrect the enemy to 0 hit points and give you the experience as if you have killed another one of those enemies.
Absolutely. And this is used, just for bonus experience, because you don't get credit for it unless you've already shown that you can kill the monster one time at least. So it's not quite as much of an exploit as some of the other ones.
This is this strategy is most commonly seen in the Final Fantasy IV no 64% speed run, which Netara is familiar with. However, you have a static party in that run that you can manipulate with certain agilities and putting them in specific slots, but with such a high variance on what your party's going to be, what levels you're coming in at, this, even if you're familiar and well versed in the speedrun, this grind fight can still be pretty difficult to pull off well, because you may get hit with too many fires. It'll take you a little too long to recover from between them. It's pretty fun to watch.
Absolutely. And I see PS2 Nick in chat is asking if Netara is in possession of a massive lead. And although she definitely does have a lead, she's in go mode, she's in her grind fight, don't count Alexa out by a long shot. Anything can happen. Even this grind fight can go suddenly and tragically wrong, as I have experienced. And Zeromus fight itself is no pushover. So anything can still happen. So don't count those chickens quite yet.
And the Siren grind fight is maybe a little bit faster than the D Machine fight. It's pretty close, and it looks like Alexa is making the play on Zot, so it's about to get a lot closer. But there is a slight lead here by Netara.
Mm-hmm. But not insurmountable.
No. And we all know how Zeromus can go. I mean, that fight can just one wrong move and it can quickly turn bad.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Another thing that may be interesting to see here is that Netara Cecil is going to get full XP from this in all likelihood, unless she decides to knock him out before finishing the fight. If she does that, his level may be a little too low, but if he stays alive, his level may be a little too high, and with a certain amount of agility, it can throw off the Zeromus fight pretty drastically.
Yeah, that is definitely a luxury that you are afforded when using the sirens to grind, is you can manipulate your anchor's agility, and Invenerable explained that very well earlier about how you want your anchor to have 14 or 28 or 42 agility. And doing the D machine grind fight, obviously, yeah, you don't know what it's going to be at. So she may have to do another one if she wants to get to a specific amount, or it may turn the Zeromus fight into something that takes longer because it's harder to get your manipulation off in that fight.
And Netara might actually be in a pickle with this grind fight. The Fusoya took a hit when Cecil attacked out of turn, and without being able to get the weak spell off on the D machine, it is starting to do a little bit of damage to her party. So this race may be evening up a little bit sooner than we expected.
Yeah, thankfully that fire's not doing too much damage to her 3 alive party members, but again, it can quickly turn sour if you're not prepared for how different this can be than the speed run. It can just turn on a dime that quickly. Thankfully, the adamant armor is resistant to fire, so Edge will probably be safe and can probably finish it on his own if everything went completely dire.
Absolutely. But those D machines do have quite a bit of health as well.
Yes, they do.
Oh no!
Oh.
I think she was trying to run buffer, but because it's not a boss fight, actually escaped, and that, she's gonna have to redo the grind fight. She still has a lead on Alexa, but
that gap just closed considerably.
Absolutely. Her saving grace at this point may be that she does have to pass. So once Alexa gets her crystal from this fight, she will have to take the long way through the moon. Netara, once the grind is complete, will be able to go directly through Troya to fight Zeromus.
Yeah, I can't say that I've never done that. I have done that plenty of times in that grind fight. Run buffer is so ingrained in my muscle memory that it just happens sometimes. And, there's no worse feeling.
Yeah, that's one reason why I'm kind of scared of learning some of the vanilla speedruns of this game. Because even while just practicing that tech, I've run from this grind fight. And it is just sinking pit in your stomach that just... I hope that this doesn't drag Netara down. I hope she gets past it and just pushes forward and still gives us a good showing here.
Agreed. And Alexa did just pick up her crystal, so we may be seeing her immediately start to grind, which, I mean, it's neck and neck now.
Absolutely. The Ariel, if you're around, Alexa will need her party member names at this point.
Cool, thank you.
No problem.
This is the point of the race where there's not a lot to say in terms of what's going on. You're going to see a lot of killing. You're going to see a lot of levels go up. But it's not going to be any less enjoyable because I love seeing those high experience numbers, let me tell you.
A small part of me wishes that the developer of this, Boardface, hadn't shortened the experience reward screen at the end, where, here we get to see, Edge gained 2 levels, Cecil gained 5 levels. If you have a character who is far behind, you may see Rydia gained 35 levels. In the original game, if you did such a fight, you'd get to see Rosa gained a level, Rosa gained a level, Rosa gained a level, Rosa gained a level.
Just 10 minutes of text boxes. It pretty much turns it into a novel sim at that point.
So I'm curious now, two things regarding Alexa's grind. Is she going to let Cecil take a dirt nap at level 44, 45? Okay, the answer to that is yes. Everyone already
Ask and
beating
ye
up-
shall receive.
Yeah. So definitely going to make sure he stays at that agility. She wants to have as easy of a time as possible at the Z fight. And then the second question was going to be, how high is she going to grind? This is a fantastic party. She has amazing gear. How will she feel? When will she feel enough is enough and be ready to charge in?
I never knew about this little area on the west side of the underground map, but that is the one of only two places where you can actually siren to get this fight with the yellow dragon. The other is like 2 or 3 tiles just below Sylph Cave, but it's way out of the way and you'd never think of it. But thankfully, this is also in the resource guide and the newbies guide. So if you're ever wondering where this is at when you're playing, just look it up and there's some detailed information about it there.
And there are a lot of small little I nearly said Easter eggs, but I've preemptively a lot of little encounters like this in the game, the rare encounters that you probably won't see just because of how unlikely they are or how out of the way they are. I think I didn't know about this one until I played the advanced version back on the GBA, and it had a bestiary that you could collect all the monsters, and came over here. I'm like, wait, I had no idea these things were even here. That's how I learned about pink puffs, which in the vanilla game give you the pink tail for the adamant armor. All sorts of little things in this game that you may not have realized on a first playthrough, but subsequent replays and then getting involved in the rando community give you extreme insight.
Absolutely. And one interesting fact is that they actually moved this fight for the DS version and put it right outside of Feymarch on that little island. You can use the siren, and that's how I farmed that tail. I had no idea that enemy even existed.
Excellent. Looks like Alexa is content with her levels and is going to be heading back to the Lunar Well and the Moon. Interesting thing to consider here is that if she pays attention, there is only one key item spot she has not checked. So if she feels that the Dark Elf would be a faster or more enjoyable encounter with the music than walking through the lunar subterrane, she could very well choose to do that to get her Zeromus access.
Absolutely. And we are seeing some hype here. We're seeing the names being entered.
You all made these happen, folks. You all paid for them. Enjoy them.
We've got Paladin Butts.
White Mage, even more butts.
Yeah. That's one I just don't agree with. White mages are not butts. Although they're the best butt. And we may see
amazing.
Netara wrap up the grind fight here. Oh, sorry, Ariel. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying this is so amazing. The butts part.
Sylv gets to be a ninja today.
Heck yes. Lunarian Xander. Or, I'm sorry, Xandra.
And that means Cat will be our flying warrior dragoon.
It'd be interesting to see how those differ on Natara's.
You see, if Naming Way let you just backspace the characters, that would have been really great. Subtle optimization there, changing Kane to Cat, just a 2-letter, cut them off, and then do the renaming. Unlike the other 4 who had to go all the way back to the first alphanumeric. Sadly, we're not actually seeing that level of detail today, but it'd be kind of cute.
How amazing would it be if the race came down to a typo that you have to correct?
Gotta go back to Naming Way. Nope. We have the donation incentives for a reason.
All right, where is Alexa headed to? straight to the moon, or just taking a scenic view of the ocean there. Yep, to the whale she goes.
Where did I park my city-sized spaceship? Do you have this alarm isn't going off? Help me find my spaceship.
I mean, who hasn't done that?
We're seeing Netara go back into the grind fight here. Looks like she has sufficient levels, but unsure what her strategy is here.
I mean, no one wants to wipe its aromas, of course, so I can understand the desire for a little additional safety.
Absolutely.
But Alexa's about to be diving that lunar subterrane, so Netara, you gotta move it. Put that pass to work.
One thing I fear is that she may be trying to hit Cecil at a specific level for that agility, which is so hard to do when, running off flyby calculations of the D-Machine fight.
That's true. That's true. Oh, this is definitely going to come down to the wire.
Yes.
Because once Netara leaves here, she only has to go to Troya. She doesn't have to fly to the moon. She doesn't have to go through the entire lunar subterrane.
Yeah, this lunar subterrane will go pretty quickly though. Without encounters, it's a long dungeon, but it's still. I think I timed it once, and it was between 4.5 and 5 minutes, counting the lunar whale cutscene. So she had already done that. So this will be pretty quick. So I'm hoping Netara is wrapping up here, and we'll use the pass. This is so awesome.
Netara is finished leveling.
My excitement knows no bounds right now. I am on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. Exit spell will not work in the giant, though. She will have to backtrack or cast warp a bunch of times. Looks like she's going to take the hike. This is going to be a very, very close finish, everyone.
Well, it looks like Netara is still checking a few chests on the way out. I'm not sure what she'd be looking for. That might be a good thing to get to ask her. There might be a specific item that she's looking for, like a crystal sword or something like that.
More adamant armor. All the adamant.
Oh, yeah. Can never have too many adamant.
So Netara definitely has the levels advantage, so she'll probably be putting out more damage at the Zeromus fight.
Oh no, the trap chest. More time loss? No! Let's see what she gets as a reward. It's a pretty quick fight. I believe around 9 or 10k hit points.
Yeah, especially with her party, she should be fine.
Oh, that's right. Netara does still need to name her party as well. So we'll see how much time that adds.
So let me see if I get this right. So Netara has done a bunch of grinding, but Alexa has not? Or...
Oh, Alexa did grind,
Oh,
just
okay.
chose a different avenue to do so,
I see.
and really did it a lot faster. One, because Netara had to reset her grind fight by accidentally running,
Right,
or
yeah.
possibly
I did
purposely
catch
running.
that part. Yeah.
And also did a second grind fight to get levels up to her desired value.
Cool.
Yeah, doing it with sirens, you have a lot more control on what level your party is, because the D machine grind fight takes so long, and you have no idea how many levels you're gonna get unless you're calculating that experience for every D machine that you kill.
Who's Zeromus gonna be?
Here it
Oh, it's
is.
just-
Everyone, get your guesses in chat.
I hope it's someone new. I hope that there's an addition we've not seen quite yet. And it'll be a surprise to everyone. Let's find out.
I have $25 from Katomari, who says, "Go Alexa, high fem lich queen."
His true colors emerged.
Grr, erg.
And we've got Zero Miss HD.
Oh, you're all gonna have nightmares tonight.
Yikes.
Ariel, Netara needs names again.
Ooh. Okay. I did send those to her, but
That Zero Miss HD sprite. Just have you guys ever seen the movie Critters 4?
I've not seen any of the Critters movies.
Well, there's one where they're in space, and I swear. Let's see what Alexa's strategy is here for Zero Miss. One thing you can do is to cast a spell after Zero Miss shakes, does his rumble. The black magic spell will cause him to counter that spell with nuke. But in doing that, it lowers his magic power so that the Big Bang does far less damage most times.
Most times. Sometimes you think you get the nerf in, and then he just goes and wipes your party anyway.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be an asterisk on that.
But let's see. White Spear, Excalibur, a Ninja, and a Masamune. Yeah. I and enough Bursk in the form of Bacchus wines to go around. I think Alexa's going to show us how this is done.
And getting a little bit of a freeze on Alexa's stream here. Looks like the nuke may have hit Cecil there.
Oh, and immediate Big Bang with no healing. Let's see if oh, that is not Cecil, that is Butts with a Z. Thank you, Bill. Ooh. And Cecil
Ouch.
taking a little bit of a nap.
Excuse me, that's Butts with a Z.
Cat still going wild with the Holy Spear, of course.
You'd probably be happy to know that the original Butts with the Z donation was made by, in fact, Buttspot.
Oh my god, Buttspot, thank you so much for your donation.
More Bursk. I saw Alexa casting Bursk with Rosa there. Did Alexa not find the Bacchus wine? Or maybe if she did find them, not purchase? Nope, there's one right there.
Yeah, I
Just
think it
getting the
was
job
just,
done.
Yeah, it was just, I think, turn utility because Zeromus had used a black hole. And so rather than waiting on the attacker's turns to come up, everyone was at good health. So why not put your white mages to work a little bit?
Doing the cursor shuffle there, seeing where Nuke's going to hit. Oh, almost
Ooh.
takes Edge out.
Got that Cure 3 queued up in a big hurry.
Hate to see Nuke